to bring, I had planned to bring some drinks in, but I ended up spending most of my day in downtown LA. And I just got home enough to relax a little bit, and my husband made dinner, and then here I am. No complaints, but that's life. So next slide. We are ready to start. And I've got a little bit to talk to before we bring on our guest. He's hanging out. Thank you. This is Nina, who is doing posting on social media, and she's really starting to ramp up. And Keith and I are going to meet tomorrow and figure out more stuff that he's doing that she can post on various media. So keep an eye on her. She's a wonderful lady, and she loves scarab beetles. And when I saw my younger sister run into one of those, she ran away screaming. So Nina's special. So we have new programs coming up. Can you all hear me? Okay, good. Can you, Brad, go down one? We've got monitoring snowy plovers. The training will be in December. I think the Saturday before Christmas and the Saturday after Christmas, but before New Year's. Keith and I are going to work that out tomorrow. So we'll have.
Isn't that Christmas bird count the Saturday before Christmas?
No, it's now Sunday. And it was always after Christmas, but now it's before. And we're going to have Jonathan, Julian's got him lined up to talk about that in a moment. So we're going to hit the in-between. And I'll be home by then. And then the monitoring starts in January. And we're looking for volunteers. And we'll keep you updated on Facebook because we haven't gotten together to get our act together. Anybody you know that think would enjoy it, point them toward us. We'll have information on the website as well as updates on Facebook, and have to find out what all Nina's doing. Instagram for sure. So this is what the snowy plover is. And when I first was shown what they are, I immediately recognized the birds. I had seen them throughout my life. But they are little cuties. And then I don't know how many of you seen this with the Palos Verdes blue butterfly, but that's a female laying eggs there. And what they do is she'll land on the plant, and her abdomen, looks normally like an airplane's fuselage, and she'll bend it down and deposit the egg right where she wants to put it. So Keith is working on Palos Verdes blue. There will be activities for that. So keep an eye out. And a special announcement. Julian, you have Jonathan there?
He is. He's ready to.
Okay. Brad, can you put on Jonathan?
He needs to unmute. Start his video. Does he have anything to show, or is it just speak?
He'll be speaking. So is he on there? Let me look for him.
Oh yeah, he's there.
Hey, I'm here.
There he is. Oh, we can see your name, Jonathan, but not you.
Okay. I can't really stay for too long. I'm in the middle of writing an environmental report. So
no
let
problem.
me start my. How do I just start a video? Is this? Oh,
there
okay.
you go. There you go.
Cool.
Oh,
Hi,
this is where you
everybody.
can see him. So what we need from you, Jonathan, is to talk just 2, 3, 4 minutes about the CBC, which is the Sunday before Christmas. And I don't have the calendar in my head yet for that. But this year, perhaps you caught my email. I can make it. I could never make it after Christmas because family obligations. So tell us about it.
Sure. So the Christmas bird count is going to be on December the 22nd, and it's going to be Sunday. So I know that some people before said that they couldn't do it on Saturday. And Sunday is best for me. So we're going to be doing it on the Sunday before Christmas. It's a really fun little count. You get to go around the area, exploring new places and recording the birds, and it's great because you get to check out new places that are close by. You don't have to go very far. I know some of us like to chase birds when rarities show up, but you never know. There could be a rare bird that shows up in our local area. So it's pretty exciting that way. And it's also a great way to get information on kind of the what kind of birds we get in our areas. And that all goes to Audubon. So they track what birds are here. They all the information gets put into a database, and they're able to make laws and other things, conservation efforts for the birds based off of that data. So you're really helping out. So hopefully everybody here who's at this meeting will be able to join. And if you are, you can always contact me. My email it's pretty easy. It's pvbirder@gmail.com. And either Anne or Julian, do you think you can share that like at the end of the meeting?
We'll have Nina, who's on right now. She's in Texas, but she's still working for the chapter. She's
Oh, great, great.
visiting her brother. So she's going to be doing all that. And over the next couple of days, we'll have it up and running. And
All
by
right.
the way, I want to mention this Christmas bird count has been going on for over 100 years. Can you tell me, Jonathan, or tell us how long it is been going on?
Well, since was in 1900, so it's like the 125th year that they're doing it.
Yeah. So
So
this is a
been a
serious,
very long time.
is what you would call it, is a serious long-term study on bird abundance throughout the US. And it's estimated, but if you go to the same spots time and time and time again, you get a trend line. So I go nuts over the monitoring since I did that. Anything else, Jonathan? And you get to see him in
No.
person.
Yeah, that's true. You can see me in person instead of
He's
on the
not-
screen.
He's not just a floating head.
Well, wrap
Yeah.
up there, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. So does anybody have a real immediate question? Okay. So Jonathan, you can go back to the fun stuff, the report.
Yeah, I got to get that done ASAP. So,
Okay.
but thanks for having me and letting me talk about the Christmas bird count. Again, hopefully everybody there will be interested, and you can contact me via email.
All right. Well, make sure that that is spread out. And I will see you on the 22nd of December. Or
All right.
whoever's the lead on the places I've picked.
Okay.
All righty.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
So now we go on to the person who's our guest speaker. So do I have anything else on that slideshow?
No. You do.
I can tell you that downtown LA traffic can drive you nuts. Yes, there is a very important things. We have a special announcement. Sorry, Guido. So the board decided, because of the work that the Friends of the Madrona Marsh Preserve do, that we want to help them out, and we're donating $1,000 a year, and we plan to do this on an ongoing basis. And so tonight we're making our first payment for 2024, and Julian, our treasurer, will come up with the thing, or do you want to just give it to me?
And speak to it.
Yeah, there you go.
real quick.
I don't need to take credit for everything.
Suzanne is here. Can I see you, please?
Should we take a picture?
Oh,
For the,
yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
take a
please
picture
do.
for the humming.
That would be
Yeah.
great. That would be great. Before we do that, real quick, hold on. Just, if you got the annual appeal in the mail, can you raise your hand? I'm kind of curious to see if you remember getting it in the mail. Okay, yeah, so that went out, and I have extra copies of our once a year appeal to donate to the organization. And I'll leave them over here.
Good, I was hoping you'd have that. I forgot to bring you.
Well, I'm glad I did. Okay, and I have
That
a
way,
pen.
and you'll take a check tonight?
I take a check any night. Oh, yeah.
Nina comes into my backyard and keeps my running.
Mark, can you come here too, please? That's Mark and Miriam, who I think is on the web tonight. They just do so much extra work to help us out on these once a month meetings, and we really appreciate that. But we appreciate the Friends of Madrona Marsh as a whole. So yeah, let's get the.
Wait, we're talking about.
It'll be clean.
Yay.
Yeah.
All right, then you
There you
collect
go.
the money and say, thank you.
Wait, let me do this and that. Okay, hold on, Guido.
Oh, all right, yay, fantastic.
And over here. That's another one of those big checks.
Beautiful.
For the next
newsletter.
Right. Good, we'll be famous. You and me.
Send a copy to us.
Mhm.
Put it in our-
I just want to read it to you. For your ongoing support to our ongoing meeting needs at the Nature Center, thank you. Please accept this contribution as an expression of our appreciation. We share many values in our regard for the environment and wildlife. So,
We'll read that at our next board meeting.
and that
And
is,
accepting this with enormous gratitude. And we should let you know that this may do more than, I mean, this is more than just that you're here. Our board at our last meeting approved funding to 50-50 with the city, to partner with the city, to add a gate here on Maple, so that the trucks can come in and empty trash without going onto the preserve. The big roll off and the dumpster will then be moved away from the preserve and over onto Maple Street. And the new gate will make that accessible. And we figure between Liz and I that adds somewhere between 500 and 1,000 extra square feet of habitat. It is significant. A lot of people will say, oh, well, you know, that's just not that much. But if you're birders or your native plant people or your habitat people, it really matters. Because that number of native plants will attract all sorts of things, as you all know. So, thank you very much.
Mark, you too. They'll be here to the very end.
So we are ready to start the show with Guido. Yeah, you can get rid of that. And so I'd like to introduce, I may not pronounce it right, but this is Guido Berguido, yeah, from ADOPTA. And I don't know the acronym, but he's doing incredible work in Panama, saving habitat and getting women working in the local communities, thinking about environmental issues and preserving it instead of using it up. So here he is. And
Guido can share.
yeah, and Brad will get Guido up and running.
Hello, hello.
Hello, Guido.
Good to see everybody. Good morning to me. I'm actually transmitting from Madagascar in Africa. So for us, it's what? It's 6 o'clock in the morning.
Good morning.
So it's a real pleasure for me to be with you guys here. And thank you once again for all this amazing support you're offering us that allows us to continue on with these projects that we're running in Panama. So since this has been what, 2 years since our last meeting together, I'd like to give you a little bit of update as to what we're up to this last couple of years in Panama. So let me see if I can share my screen in a minute. 1 second. Okay, let me see how we do this. Okay, here we go. Okay, can you see my screen?
Perfect.
Okay, super. Well, I have to thank each and every one of you guys who's ever traveled to Panama with Jess, Evie, and all the crew that comes down here, because not only does it allow us to show off our amazing bird life, but it also establishes these long-term relationships that we have managed to do with Palos Verdes South Bay Audubon Society. So of course, for those of you who are new to this, to Panama and ADOPTA Bosque, I would like to give you a little bit of an overview of what we're about. Of course, Panama, if you don't know where it is, it's there in the middle of the Americas, between Costa Rica and Colombia. And of course, it's best known because of the Panama Canal that dates back to the 1800s when the French first started. Later, the Americans finished it up in 1914 that it officially opened. But of course, the Panama hat is one of the things that we're best known for. This whole history has created a very interesting melting pot of culture, so to speak, that allows Panama to be an interesting, not only interesting for the birds, but also for the culture in general, that it allows great contrast between the indigenous populations that live in very remote locations on their very sort of say original or excuse me conditions, all the way down to the metropolis of Panama City, that has nearly half of the country's population, with close to 2 million people that live in Panama City metropolitan area, which is quite striking for those of you who didn't realize this. But in general, Panama otherwise is quite, so having close to half of the population concentrated in the city of Panama, in the capital city, allows for a lot of the rest of the country to be quite natural, so to say. So, and our location at 9 degrees north of the equator allows us to have a great temperature, warm temperatures, allows us to have a lot of rainfall and sun rays pretty much throughout, constant 12 hours of sunlight pretty much throughout the year. And these are the ideal conditions for, of course, biodiversity to flourish. And we have all kinds of more than 10,000 flowering plants, and they grow to different sizes and colors and shapes and forms. Of course, butterflies make up an amazing diversity also. About 10,000 species of Lepidopterans occur in Panama. There are very interesting relationships between insects and flowers and so on. And of course, we have other organisms like frogs and mammals, monkeys, birds, of course, that I will not dwell too much into the details because you have to come down to see it for yourself. But it's really impressive, the diversity of wildlife that we get in Panama. The jaguar, of course, being, so to say, the king of the rainforest here in Panama, which is the apex predator amongst the wildlife. Of course, also of great interest is the fact that our country, even though it's tiny, it's about just around 20,000 square miles. That's roughly the size of South Carolina, a little bit smaller than South Carolina. Yet our geography is very complex. Those of you who've traveled with us to visit Panama realize that we have a lot of mountains and windy roads going up and downs. We have a lot of wetlands. We have lots of different kinds of forests, dry forest, humid forest, wet forest. And of course, in terms of mountains, the higher we go up in elevation, the more unique the species of birds, right? Including what's considered by many the most beautiful bird in the world, the resplendent quetzal up in the Western mountains. And of course, our national bird, which is the harpy eagle, is the most powerful bird of prey in the world. And interesting, this diversity attracts a lot of attention. And this leads on to community support, because to travel to see the harpy eagle, for instance, you have to travel X amount, 5 hours by boat, by car, then 2 hours by boat, and then you are in the middle of this amazing village in the middle of the rainforest. You can say it's almost like a Nat Geo moment, because it's amazing to see the people, how happy they live in the middle of the rainforest. And you come there originally to see amazing bird life, but you wind up discovering this amazing culture. On the other hand, we have also quite interesting mountains like Cerro Chucantí, which is our flagship project in between Panama Province and Darien Province, and it's got some amazing bird life, including this solitaire. It's a really special bird. As a matter of fact, one of our collaborator researchers is doing his PhD studies with some of these birds, and it's likely that it might be a new species, because the fact is that this mountaintop that rises to about 5,000 feet in elevation is surrounded mostly by lowlands that are very hot. So a lot of species are contained at the temperate forest at the top. That is not easy to get to, but once you get there, it's simply amazing, the lush vegetation and incredible waterfalls and landscapes. And of course, it turns out to be not just shelter for amazing birds, but for all kinds of wildlife in general, including this critically endangered black spider monkey that's quite threatened, and it's only found in Panama, Colombia, and Ecuador. Unfortunately, all these habitats are under constant threat by development, mostly cattle ranching and farming. Logging, of course, is also of interest. Some of them by local farmers, some of them by bigger corporations. But the fact is that it's a real imminent threat to these environments. And that's why ADOPTA Bosque came about, basically to step up and do something about this to avoid the destruction of these amazing rainforests. And we managed to purchase some plots of land. This is Chelina Batista, who's actually also joining us here from Panama, and she might also come along and give her input. But we managed to purchase tracts of rainforest here in Cerro Chucantí, and we managed to negotiate actually a logging concession. That was amazing to realize that these humongous trees that you see in the photo sometimes are valued at $12 a piece, which was very striking for us. And we certainly managed to make a difference by buying out some of the logging concessions and by buying the land to preserve it in perpetuity. And of course, right now, this year, Palos Verdes South Bay Audubon, thanks to the board and all your membership, has supported us and allows us to pay for a ranger to be maintained at the facility for all this year, so that we're able to maintain the on-the-ground presence in Cerro Chucantí to guarantee its conservation. Because one thing is to buy a logging concession, one thing is to buy the land, but in order for you to guarantee the effective conservation of the territory, you need to have somebody on the ground to oversee its conservation. And that is what Juan Camaño, this fellow here, is doing thanks to the Palos Verdes South Bay Audubon support for his salary throughout this year. And of course, we also work in collaboration with local authorities and law enforcement agencies so that they give us an extra support, you know, because our rangers are not armed or anything. So every so often we would like to invite these law enforcement agencies, be it the border police, the ecological police, and other agencies to come on board with us and give us that additional backing to ensure the conservation of these amazing rainforests. One thing that I always strikes us as amazing is that we always ask our rangers to take photos of different plants and flowers and animals that they come across on their patrols. And oftentimes, well, we will share this information with our colleagues that are botanists or entomologists or whatever other specialties people, our colleagues work. And sometimes they turn out to be a new species. And that is the case of this beautiful flower that is actually unknown to the world as of now. It's a Eschleria species in the Lecythidaceae family, which is the Brazil nut family. And this is one of those species that we haven't named yet. There are a couple other in the Calla lily family. This is one of those, I think it's Santoxoma, if I don't recall correctly, if I'm mistaken. It's a new species, not yet described, from Cerro Chucantí. And well, that's part of the work that we managed to do thanks to your support. Of course, migratory species are also benefited by preserving the rainforest. Here, like, am I going the wrong way? Yeah, sorry. And including some land birds, some shorebirds, and of course, raptors. And that's one of the projects that Palos Verdes South Bay Audubon Society is supporting us with the Bocas del Toro Hawk Watch, which is located right there with this area in Western Panama on the Caribbean side. Excuse me. In this area, the conditions are simply amazing as a bottleneck. Panama in general, which is 50 miles at the Panama Canal, area is 50 miles from the Pacific to the Caribbean or Atlantic. It's a bottleneck by default for all these amazing migratory species that come through. But we have identified some years ago in Bocas del Toro, this area to the left side in Western Panama, that shows an amazing bottleneck because it has the shoreline, the Caribbean side, and adjoined closely to the high mountains of the mountain range of Talamanca Mountains. And this allows the birds to funnel through in amazing numbers. And we're thanks to your support, we are managing to sustain the Bocas del Toro Hawk Watch, which accounts for all this phenomenon. In this case, this is Mississippi kites. You can count how many are here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But when they come down to Panama and they funnel through into the Bocas del Toro region, it's an amazing phenomenon that they come literally by the hundreds of thousands. And we have more than a dozen different species of birds that migrate through our site, including the peregrine falcon, plumeous kites, Mississippi kites, broadwing hawks, Swainson's hawks, some of the other Cooper's hawks, sharpies, and many other birds that migrate. Swallowtail kites, for sure, are an important part of this migration. Some other birds that are not necessarily raptors do show up around, and that's the case of this wood stork that also come up with in interesting numbers. I'm not sure if you can visualize this photo properly, This is a picture looking down from our hawk watch to the Bay of Almirante on the Caribbean side. You see a ship navigating there in the Bocas del Toro Almirante channel. But you can see in the foreground this cloud of little specks, and those are all raptors that are moving through. We also try to involve the local communities in participating in this effort, especially in indigenous Nove Bugle people, and we try to also involve the ladies. We've had our challenges, and we can talk about that at length later at some other point. But it's always a challenge, you know, with the ladies and the babies and education and this and that. So it's a learning process, but we're trying to make it possibility. Last year, actually, on October 27th, we've had our biggest day ever with over 1 million birds in a single day. We didn't break that record this year. We're still counting the Bocas Hawk Watch. We'll plan to run it into December, but the peak of the migration has already passed. Last year, we counted for over 6.4 million raptors between August and December. And this year, the numbers are equally amazing. We have, in terms of species diversity, we have over 5.5 million birds so far. And this at 2 locations. But you can see here a graph showing you the broadwing hawks. This is definitely the highest numbers, then followed by Swainson's hawks and turkey vultures. It's amazing. You can, all this data is being inputted into a world database called hawkcount.org, and you're welcome to connect to it online and see the numbers as they come in every day. Excuse me. So as of this is one of our hawk sites is Bocas Valle de Agua, and you can see that this single location we've accounted for as of a couple of days, which was the last inputted data, is over 4.8 million raptors going in there. A lot of them, or let's see, the biggest number is still at this location, Swainson's hawks, I think. Let's see if I'm getting this data correct. Where are the broad ones? Turkey vultures, 720,000. Swainson's hawks, 1 million at this location. Broadwing hawks, 400,000 at this location. Oh, that's from November, sorry. Where am I looking? Unknown raptors, 1 million. Swainson's hawks. The fall is so incredible numbers. So I'll invite you to take a look at that if you have a chance on the website. This year has been rather convoluted, so to speak, because of the weather. This is a map showing you the hurricanes that are affecting the region, and this allows for some better success or not for our migratory birds. So all these birds for the fall migration are making their way from Canada, the US, through Central America, through Panama, which is one of the bottlenecks, into South America. So the weather plays an important part in this process, and we have to keep track of that. And certainly the numbers show how the migration is either pushed forward or delayed at times. So it's quite interesting. One of our other project sites is in Western Panama in the San Bartolo Nature Reserve. We're still on the early stages of developing this site. Right now we have 105 hectares of forest that we're protecting there, and also a unique site with probably unreported species. We actually managed to steal one of the species of previously endemic to Costa Rica, the black-cheeked tanager. So that's more or less, folks, some of the updates that we're giving you from the field here in Panama. We still have a number of species that are yet to be described. thanks to Palos Verdes, South Bay Audubon, we were able to describe this Dieffenbachia mortoniana, named after Jess Morton, of course. And we're trying to support the communities. We also do some environmental education, both with local students and international students. One of our biggest programs is this tropical ecology class for international students from all Latin America, and where they have the opportunity to contact or learn tropical biology from the researchers themselves. And of course, some of our other work, this is Juan Camaño, a ranger, but he's so good that he's learned the ropes of many other skills, and he literally goes off into the canopy to help us out set up artificial nests for macaws, including the blue and gold macaw and the great green macaw. So this also helps out in restoring the population of these endangered macaws, because they nest in cavities and decaying trees, and they have a hard time finding enough nesting trees. So that's why we set up these artificial nest boxes up in the canopy to try to help them. We haven't had a success yet them using the nest, but we're following up and monitoring the nest. We set up about 10 artificial nests in the Darien, and we're hoping that they will be used in the future. One of our other projects that's still going on, one of our collaborating researchers, Lydia, she's from Florida University, and she's studying the canopy epiphytes, and she finds all kinds of amazing bromeliads primarily, but occasionally she finds also some orchids, which are of course magnificent. At the tropical school here, we have all the students coming down from Central South America and even Spain, and it's really special. Part of our education programs, but also very important for us is getting them involved, not just high school students, but also elementary school students to come down and help us out with our habitat restoration projects. We have a big issue with Saccharum spontaneum, which is an invasive grass related to sugarcane. But in this case, the sugarcane relative grows too much, too thick, and it doesn't allow the rainforest to naturally restore itself. So we have to physically remove the invasive grass and plant some native species of trees. But we also try to involve the children, because of course they're the future, and it's critical that they are a part and they feel empowered that they're a part of this very interesting initiative to restore the rainforest. We also involve some corporations that are the ones that help us sustain this project. This is an aerial view. You can see these are the company names. There's Servier, which is a pharmaceutical company, Maersk Sealand, which is an naval, or they have ships and things. And BAC is one of the banks that's been supporting us for 6 years in restoring different plots. So this is an aerial shot. You can see some people there on the ground. You see a little white roof there, which is like a shelter, but you can see how the invasive grass has taken over areas that we're removing and restoring with people. So, well, that's more or less some of the amazing news that we're sharing with you here from the field. I'm not sure if you have any questions or comments about the work. I'm sure there's plenty of questions, but we're extremely grateful and thankful to all the membership of Palos Verdes, South Bay Audubon, its board, Jess Morton, and all the people that are making this support possible. Because if it weren't for you, it would be very difficult to move forward with some of our projects. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, of course, you're more than welcome to join us on our social media and learn about the work that we're doing in the field here in Panama. Thank you.
So I'm going to start off with a request. I would like to have this talk put onto our website and some commentary and stuff like that, and have that kind of share your data on our website so more people can learn about this. And
Super.
you're nodding yes, so I like that. And so
Brilliant.
I'll be talking to our IT guy, Brad, and get that set up. Jess, you had a
Yeah,
question?
absolutely.
Guido, could you talk about the undescribed species that you have and what the process is and how people can assist on that?
Absolutely. Well, as I mentioned, well, Cerro Chucantí is one of our main flagship project in the Darien, and this mountain top is what we call a sky island, which means that it's a high mountain that rises to over 5,000 feet in elevation, yet it's surrounded by hot lowlands. So there is a whole series of plant, animal, and mushrooms that have found shelter in the temperate forest at the very summit area of Cerro Chucantí. And it's just amazing when you go up there, it's amazing to see that it's such a lush, temperate, cool conditions compared to the hot lowlands below. And so the animals there over thousands, hundreds of thousands of years have evolved into unique species that have adapted to this temperate forest. And they will not dare move down from the highland temperate forest, not even to the middle elevations at 500 or rather 1,500 species or 2,000 feet or even 3,000 feet. They're above the 3,000, between 3,000 and 5,000 feet at the summit of Cerro Chucantí, where it's the coldest, so to speak. It's cooler temperate forest. And in all, as of today, we've managed to record close to 70 species of unique wildlife in this area. Of the approximately 70 species, we've managed to describe, thanks to our collaborators, close to 22, 23 species. And to answer the question, the process to describe this new species is not easy and it's not fast. It requires a lot of effort because we need to make sure before we publish this new species that we are in fact in front of a unique species unlike anything else recorded so far into science. And we have a couple of snake species, we have a couple of frog species, we have a number of orchid species, and I just mentioned a couple of other flowering plants and even trees that are unknown to science as of now. And we need to carry on a series of comparisons. We have to do molecular studies to compare the DNA from these species to the others, similarly looking ones from South America or other parts of Panama, and to make sure that they're indeed new species. So for botanical for plants, we need to compare the specimens to those recorded for Colombia and Ecuador and other places. Our researchers, our botanists will have to go sometimes to herbaria in the Missouri Botanical Garden or the New York Botanical Garden to compare hand in hand these specimens to make sure they're unique, in addition to the molecular studies. Same for some of the animals. You have to go and compare at the various museums, the various collections, to make sure that these frogs or these snakes or these insects are indeed completely different from the ones that are known to the world as of this far. And then once that information is collected, you have to sit down and write it up. So somebody needs to sit down and with assistance of hopefully some students or interns, we need to be able to prepare this manuscript and then present it to a journal that will send it out to some reviewers, and that's part of the process of describing a new species. That is not easy, it's not quick, and it's not cheap. So that's why oftentimes we wish we had lots of research scientists that have let's say at the University of Panama, that they will have plenty of time and resources to do this, but oftentimes they're just teaching. They do not have like a paid position to do research per se. So it's hard to get the work done to publish it. So that's why we sometimes appeal to people such as yourselves to support these initiatives. Just sometimes the journals to make it open access and available to the world, they'll charge sometimes like $4,000 just to have to publish a journal article describing a new species that will be open access. So it's ridiculous, really, but that's how science works. And we need support. Sometimes it will cost us 12,000, 15,000, 20,000, depending on how much information is available and how much traveling is required to compare the specimens and so on. But it's indeed quite enriching, and it's exciting. And for us, whenever we have, like right now, we have Lydia Soifer from Gainesville, Florida, studying the bromeliads in Chucantí. So we're excited that potentially she could find a couple of new species of bromeliads. And as you know, bromeliads are these air plants, sometimes collect water, and in the little ponds that are created in the bromeliads, sometimes we have salamanders, we have frogs, we have other critters that live there. So it's always exciting news to see what you can find. But we certainly need additional support to get more species described formally to the world. And what's more exciting is that oftentimes, like I told you, these species in the temperate cloud forest in this sky island are only found between 1,200 meters to the summit at nearly 1,500 meters. So between 4,000 and 5,000 feet, that is the entire world-known range for these species. And we're talking about 5 square kilometers, and that's it. For this reason precisely, most of these species that we're describing from Cerro Chucantí meet the International Union for Conservation of Nature's criteria to be considered critically endangered already, according to their red list criteria for endangered species. So it's very important, the work that we're doing, and it's very important that we get the support to make sure we describe the species, especially nowadays with global warming, if there's such a thing. But we see some trends in never mind. We're having some issues because the warmer it gets, this forest will be disappearing, because right now the temperature at 3,000 feet is cool, and as the higher you go, the cooler it gets. So this 5 square kilometer habitat is literally shrinking as we speak. So probably in a couple of years, in a decade or so, it will not be 5 square kilometers, but instead 3 square kilometers. And because it's warming up, so that the range where all these species live at the summit of the mountain, shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. So it's more important every day that we preserve this habitat and that we study it before they become extinct.
Thank you. That was an excellent description of the effort into finding new species. The local coastline here, up to 60 meters, 100 meters depth, have been sampled for 100 years now, and there's still new species being found. And I can't imagine what you're confronting right now, because just everything is new. And I described one species, but there's still people doing it all the time now. It's a lot of effort. You got to draw it up. Line drawings work best. And then you've got to make your archival specimens and find a museum and all that stuff, and then publish it. So, but you did an excellent job. So thank you. Let's see if we have any more questions. Anybody have a question? Okay, here's Jess. There we go.
I hope that wasn't too loud.
Go ahead.
Yes. With the naming, for a substantial donation of $15,000, $20,000, it's not something everybody can do, but for somebody who would like to honor somebody or have a species named for themselves, the opportunity is to make a donation for one of these species that that Guido has waiting for
Mhm.
a name. And you would be able to have the naming right to that species.
Exactly. You can name it after a loved one, after a family member, after somebody else.
But
But
not
yeah,
yourself,
what's that?
but not oneself.
Well, no, I think it,
Well, you can.
I think in this case, it's a matter of something else.
It was
Yeah.
very frowned upon.
Usually the person who describes it would not describe it. You cannot ethically describe it onto your own name.
Right.
The scientist honors somebody else. That's the norm. Yeah.
And that can be often is the person who makes the donation and
Correct.
or has in the past has supported the travel that got somebody into South American forests to go looking for things, and then they
Yeah. Usually in this donation that can be from 12,000, 20,000, it includes not just the publication of the species itself, but includes also like scholarships for our stipends for interns. So it's not just publishing the new species and honoring a donor in this case, but also it involves the training of the new generation of interns and biologists that will be doing further studies ahead. And of course, it supports our conservation efforts.
So do we have any general questions? Yes.
Should I use that or no?
Yeah. Here you go.
Thank you. Hi, Guido. I just had a question. I love what you're doing. It's just so amazing. I'm
you.
so
Thank
impressed.
you.
And I had a quick question. I just wondered what your focus is going to be for the coming year, 2025. Like, what would be your big push next year? What are you focusing on? Is there one thing that's what you're mainly doing, maybe?
We're hoping to consolidate our efforts because we're doing a lot of things, but oftentimes the budgeting is very limited. So we have like enough to hire one ranger, thanks to you in this case, or we have enough to restore 1 hectare of rainforest. So we're always working to consolidate this effort so we can ensure the continuity or the sustainability at the long term. So those are more or less those are always the goals for this next 25 years, for this 2025 rather. For this particular year, we have a brand new project with one of our partners called Environment for the Americas that is about migratory species, and our goal is in the next year is to declare Panama City as a bird city. Is the program they have with American Bird Conservancy as well, in which we're doing a lot of lobbying for the mayor of Panama City and the city itself to meet a series of criteria and commitments so that becomes a friendly city towards both resident and migratory species, focusing particularly on light pollution. There's such an amazing skyline that we have at night. It's lit up. If you manage to fly into Panama or going through Panama, you see it's like a huge city, giving off a lot of light pollution that distracts or disorients our migratory species coming from North America and backwards and from south to north. So having some measures taken to minimize impact of structures and light pollution is our new project for 2025. So we're excited about it. And Celina is actually a big part of that.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? You know, that light pollution, if you get that solved, can you come down and talk to my neighbors? They're lighting everything up. It's driving me nuts.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Super.
When's the best time to go birding there?
Okay, when's the best time to go birding in your neighborhood?
Well, in Panama, we have so many birds. We have over 1,024 species of birds. Most of them occur throughout the year. Only about 200 and some are migratory. So, so anytime is good. However, it's usually most comfortable, so to speak, because it doesn't rain as much in your winter months. So January, February, and March are drier than usual, are drier normally because it's our dry season. So my personal favorite is late March, early April, and that's because it meets when the spring migration, where the birds are coming back from South America, and at the same time the local birds are breeding, so there's lots of activity. So that's my personal favorite. But otherwise, you can come to Panama at any moment of the year and you'll see lots of birds. Even if you come at the rainiest time of the year, which is usually October, November, it's normally the wettest month of the year. However, Panama is kind of funny normally, and that it rains usually during 2 hours a day. So you can have a beautiful sunny morning like we have now here, and then but towards noon, the clouds come together and boom, you have a huge downpour. You'll have cats and dogs and jaguars and things falling off the sky for 1 or 2 hours. And then after 2 o'clock, the sun comes back out and the birds come out again. So it's like a new morning. So it's perfect anytime.
Okay, another question?
I'm sorry, I have another question. What are you doing in
Please.
Madagascar? What are you doing in Madagascar?
Yes, that's correct. Well, I was invited by one of our supporters we are actually assuming a new reserve called Sierra Llorona, and this project is sponsored by a donor, and he also runs a project, a conservation project here in Madagascar, an amazing area. We've seen lemurs and all kinds of amazing birds. It's incredible. We actually should do a trip down here as well. We can set it up. And we saw like pita rollers and all kinds of random names that I've never heard before in my life. So I've had over the last couple of days with more than like 24 live birds. Every day, everything I see is new to me. So it's amazing.
That's fantastic.
And actually we saw yesterday a ringtail ferret. And a couple of days ago, I saw something that I've never dreamt that I would ever see. And that was the fusa. The fusa is the top predator here in the forest of Madagascar. It's actually related to, it looks like a cougar, like a small cougar, but it's actually related to ferrets and stuff. It's a random family. But it's really amazing. I can send you some photos. We can do another talk about Madagascar at some other time.
Yeah, that would work. We got a question.
Yes, thank you for your report. Quick question. The picture you showed of Panama City looked like you have a lot of very tall glass buildings. Don't you have problems with the birds flying into the buildings? And secondly, what's the name again of that most powerful raptor, bird of prey? It's an eagle of some kind. I never seen that.
Harpy eagle. The harpy eagle is the most powerful bird in the world. We have about 400 in Panama, 400 to 500 individuals, and we've tracked about 7 active nests throughout the country. Actually, there's a new nest that was hatched back in October. So we have a new nest that we're excited to go visit. I didn't get the first question, sorry, about the infrastructure.
The picture you showed of the city of Panama City, it looked like a lot of very tall glass buildings. Don't you have problems with the birds flying into the buildings?
Well, that's precisely what we're hoping to do with this new project, along with Environment for the Americas. We're going to be doing surveys to document scientifically this phenomenon. Because occasionally we get somebody writes on their social media, oh, I found this bird like a Swainson's thrush or a yellow warbler or a summer tanager or a scarlet tanager that's been dead. And it's most likely because collisions with the buildings for sure. Questions?
Your green macaws and blue and gold, what are their predators?
Well, they don't have that many predators. The harpy eagle does take them occasionally. And also the crested eagles would take macaws. But the biggest concern is one, habitat destruction, of course, because people cut down the forest. Secondly, the pet trade is also of importance because to a family that makes, I don't know, less than $100 a month, so like $1,200 a year, if it can sell a macaw for $1,000, that's more than they'll make in an entire year. So poaching of nests is sometimes, it is indeed one of our issues.
In some countries where there's the poaching, they actually take the baby, maybe a baby bird out that is the smaller of the 2 or 3, and then save it. So it's a safe.
Sorry, it's breaking up. The microphone's battery or something is breaking up. So can you repeat that again in some countries?
There are some countries where they will actually take the baby macaws or parrots out of the nest and take care of them to keep them from being poached.
That is an interesting approach for sure. That's something to consider. For now, while we're in one of the areas that we're working in the Darien, we're trying to change the attitude. We're trying to change the perception that the macaw is worth more alive than, I mean, in the wild for ecotourism than as a pet, because it's a one-time deal that you sell one. But if you can have a couple birds in the wild, you can attract regular visitors and tourists. Actually, I'm not sure if you noticed, but the one thing we can do, I'm just stepping myself forward here, is that we could sell some of the handicrafts. Maybe we can send up to you guys some of these beautiful baskets that the women make in the villages. Some of them are actual figurines of macaws, and that way we can support the local community so they can get a source of income that would not involve the poaching of artificial nests. That, by the way, is of course illegal, and people can get in trouble with that. So we have to create that sense that the animals, the birds, are worth more alive in the wild, and that so that people would turn on others that may be trying to poach the animals. Thank you.
Well, that's really a good idea. I'm involved with the with the parrot club and presidents of parrot club and presidents of parrot clubs from all over the country. So that might be something that we can even work together to help you out.
I would love to. That would certainly be great. Thank you.
Are you aware of the blue-throated macaws in Bolivia and the net boxes that they build and the success that they've had?
Yes, I've learned about that a little bit. Don't know all the details, but yeah, I've been following up on the news. In the case and in Costa Rica, and they have been extremely successful with this artificial nest that they set up in the trees. That's why we're learning through the World Parrot Trust and some of our partners in Costa Rica. We've actually visited them, and but I think part of the success is that they are working with reintroduced populations. So they're releasing the animals back in the wild, and they're individuals that already know people. So they're used to artificial structures where they bred in captivity. So they're more easily adapted to using them again in the wild. And the newer generations they're born in these artificial nests, so they're more keen on using them in the future. So we're still trying to habituate the wild animals to using this artificial nest, because in the wild, they have to rely on natural cavities in half decaying rotten trees. And these half rotten trees are quite susceptible to being toppled down by the winds, storms, or fires. So it's a learning process. So we should
It's
certainly.
my understanding that once the macaw starts breeding and using the nest box, they will come back every year and even
for
use
sure,
the
yes.
same nest box.
Absolutely. That's our hope in the near future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the input. I look forward to following up on that with the parrot clubs. And you have a bird there. What do you have there, by the way?
This is a blue-fronted Amazon parrot.
Oh my gosh, that's so
She
cute.
was born here in California. I guess her
Oh, nice.
great grandparents were probably from Brazil.
Oh wow. Thanks for sharing.
Take a look at the camera.
Oh, does it talk a lot? Are they very talkative?
They can talk. She only says 20 words. She does a lot of sign language. Now,
Oh my gosh.
but I had another one that said 70. Blue-fronted Amazons can speak a lot. And
One
she's
of our
very sweet.
common Amazons is the yellow-crowned Amazon.
Yes, those are
or
very
yellow-
common.
They're very talkative. Unfortunately,
they
that's
are.
people coach them for that.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's beautiful.
You know, I was just gonna say one more thing. If we come down to go birding, do you have birding? Do you have a birding company, or who would you go
Yes,
to?
we do. Yes,
Okay.
we do indeed. We have a tour operator that's we partner with through which we organize trips. I'm not sure, Jess, when are you coming down again?
Put Jeff on the spot here.
I don't have it on the schedule at the moment, but it sounds like my arm is being twisted.
Yep, I think so. There's a demand for you, Jess.
I don't think I can get my hands
Super.
along with this. Is there any other questions or anything?
I think it's just.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for making this possible. If it weren't for your support, we couldn't do this hawk watch and keep our rangers in the field. So appreciate it greatly. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great work.
Okay. Good night. Or good morning. Have a good day.
Good morning. Thank you. Have a good night, you guys.
And good birding.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll show you a little bit here.
Oh, I'm seeing it from the side. That's why it's not so
Yeah.
good.
Slightly better from here than from.
I think about Madagascar too.
Wow.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Shall I end the recording?
And thinking about it, we are supporting ADOPTA.